start? Do we need this? We do?
Yeah.
Okay.
The room's small enough, just easier. I have tape. I'm not athletic enough anymore to do any coordination stuff. But again, I don't know if everybody was here yesterday for our the talk we had. Had a little bit of a change of topic. I'm sure you guys. I'm an assistant. Obviously, we have a head coach. I got some guys that helped me with a lot of the tech stuff, and the tape that got loaded up wasn't our coverage tape. So they got an earful a little bit last night for that. But we got some really good stuff on some 3- and 4-man rush principles that we use to rush quarterback, to get after the quarterback. I think one of the things that I would try to do in these settings is, even as a young coach, I started my career. I've been at a number of different levels in the States, Division II, NCAA Division II, the NAIA. I've been at lower levels, and obviously in the FCS, Division I. I only say that because, you know, I know what it's like that, not have very many resources and have a ton. And as a position coach, I would come to these things, and I would try to put myself in other rooms besides just learning about more DB play. I knew that was what I was going to study the entire year, all year. I go sit in an offensive session, not very long, they're boring, but I'd sit in the D-line rooms, I would sit in the linebacker rooms and try and get something out of those. And I think we're going to talk about a lot of stuff up front, even though you might have come over as a DB guy. I think the best coverage is a great rush. Right? You guys don't have to cover long, they don't have to be very good if we get it done up front. I think you can bring some ideas back, potentially your coordinator or head coach, and maybe some of the principles we talk about to help you a little bit, you know, even as that DB coach or that corners coach. So, you know, I think, you know, having a good plan to rush the passer and understanding how to beat protections in those situations, you know, something we really try and do. Yesterday we talked about anytime we do a talk, our goals are to make sure guys don't just, and this talk's probably a little different than yesterday as far as the rules of what we do. I think, you know, we'll talk about what the rules are in some of these schemes. You know, they're pretty tried and true. I think if you don't have the ability to run them this way, then they might not be the best for you, although I don't think they are hard principles to play with. So, you know, but I do think, you know, you understand your players. I think the point of just bringing these topics up are, you know your guys, I know my guys. When I take stuff, I want to make sure I'm really thorough about what they can learn, what they can handle, the time constraints I have with them, and do we have the ability to teach these things? Because if we don't, they can have unintended consequences, right? And we start not only just teaching things that we might not use in gameplay, but we've also lost the ability to teach something else in that time that we might use during those game situations. So I think when you're deciding how to do things, you're in these situations figuring out what might I implement in my defense, you really got to think about, am I willing to invest the time in it, and is that well spent time invested? And no different than anything else you're doing. But, you know, I think if you take these things and mold them to fit your program and your kids, I think that's the best mindset to have as a coach. I was never a guy that wanted to just take somebody else's stuff and regurgitate it to my players. I never grew like that conceptually. I just took somebody else's stuff and I was just a media for putting those terms in front of those guys. I never got any better. So I always wanted to make sure that my stuff was my stuff, and although it is built from different people, but I was developing it for the situation I was in. And so I encourage you to do that as you listen to it. So when it comes to, you know, some of our philosophies, what we want to do with rushing the passer, with creating problems up front, and you to protect us, we want to get there with as little amount of people as possible. It's really easy to talk about, hey, we're in a 3-4, we're in a 3-3-5, whatever we're doing, and say, I'm really good at creating pressure with blitzes. yeah, it's just math, right? If I can block more on one side, if I can break more than you can block, I'm going to get there. But obviously, the consequences in doing that are, you know, we're limited in coverage. Explosive plays happen more. You're not as sound in the run game, to be honest, a lot of times because it's hard to adjust blitz paths and reads. So we want to get there with as little amount of people as possible. So we develop every year more and more concepts of how we're going to go ahead and rush it with 3, and how we're going to rush it with 4 players. And that doesn't necessarily mean 3 D linemen and 4 D linemen either. How we want to attack protections with 4. A lot of times we talk about attacking protections with blitzes. We want to attack protections with our 4 guys and our 3 guys. And so the reason we want to do that, we want to affect the quarterback. Obviously, this guy's taking every snap. The ball's in his hands every single snap, except for some of the cute stuff, right? This is the guy that's responsible for the entire football game. We can't let him go into that game and feel comfortable with everything he's doing. It's that simple. And what are the best ways? And there are a number of ways you can affect him. It doesn't always mean we've got, you know, you hear that we want to affect the quarterback. We want to hit him. Of course you do, right? I mean that's a way, but I don't know that necessarily affects them for the next play. You know, they got pads on too. They get hit too. I think a lot of the things we try and do is we're really intentional about making him move. They want to take the snap, sit in that spot, have a clean pocket, play from that platform. Their throwing lanes are usually from that platform. The protections are taught to get hands down from this platform. We want to make him move. It doesn't matter who you are. You're a better athlete as a thrower with a platform and a base under you than you are on the move. Especially if we can move you to your offhand. And so, can we move you? Can we make you make these reads, make these throws with moving feet and moving eyes? While things are moving, you're more apt to make mistakes. So, we want to affect you that way. We want to affect your vision off of that platform. Those throwing lanes change. If you're cutting the 5 technique to throw 3-step, and I got to move away from that 5 technique, now the 3 technique is in my vision path. Right? So if we can move you a little bit, it creates different vision that he saw all week in 7-on-7, right? With his feet set, nothing in front of him, and maybe a couple of dummies or something, right? Or a team against a scout team where they didn't rush the passer properly and they got him cut and he made that throw. By moving him also lets us to affect his vision. We spent a lot of time, we talked a little bit yesterday about some of the shifts pre-snap that we make, both to affect your run game and the offensive line. It's identification in that run game, but it's the same thing in protection. They're going to take a look at your front. When you're a 0 and 2 3s up front, and 1 second later you are a 4-man front reduced, those are completely, and I'm sure there's offensive line guys here, those are completely different identifications to protect. They're different for the back, they're different for the center, and putting those guys in conflict also affects that quarterback. A lot of quarterbacks, and I don't know how it is here, but a lot of quarterbacks we play are responsible for setting that protection. So they're going to get up the line of scrimmage. They're going to identify what they see, make a protection call, get ready to go, use shift. Oh shit, easy, easy, we're going here. Now I back up, 3 seconds to go, take a snap and move you. How can you really play at a high level over and over and over? You're having a process like that. Even the great ones struggle. And so we want to make you go through all those things with pre and post snap reads in combination with the rest. And we feel like if we can put a lot of that together, we've affected your day. We've affected the guy who's taking the football and made his day a lot more difficult. And that's all we're trying to do. Because if we make it easy, that's on us. We haven't tried to find different ways to affect him besides bringing a whole lot of pressure and getting hit, that we haven't done enough, in my opinion. So being a little outside the box and making sure you find different ways to affect them are really big. For us, from a schematic and concept perspective, schematically, we want to make sure we're really good and our coaches are good about understanding offensive protection. You know, to my point a second ago, sitting in an offensive room helps as a defensive player or a coach. I want to sit in that room and and trying to understand what's going through that guy's head when they're watching us. Is it really important that they talk about defenses in a name term? Are they, you know, a lot of offensive lines will say, hey, we're going to bear this protection. We call a 0, 2 3s, and 2 5s a 5 down look. In our offense, we call that a bear front. And they call it, they bear the protection. They just use that term, right? So I know when we're playing our offense, if I can give them a 5 down look, they're going to identify that as a bear protection. When they do that, the center is man-to-man on the 0. And the minute we shift out of a bear look, we can make and influence that center any way we want them to go if we can just give them that look. And so if I know that you're a team that speaks about it in names the look, right? Well, then we just have to give you the look to kind of make you guys match up the way we want to. If you're a rules-based team and you're a 1, 2, 3, and how you play those games, well, then we know we have to overload a side. How do we get your center to move? We've got to put more numbers on this side of the center than that side of the center. And so understanding those protections and what those guys are getting taught just helps you give them the look. And really it comes down to how do we move the center in our world. Gives you an idea of how to set up your defense on those downs where you need to get after the quarterback, or how you teach your guys up front. You can really understand the protection. So we want to do that first. Once we do that, we want to find the man side of the protection, right? So we'll talk in a second how we define a man zone protection. We want to find man side. The man side is telling us, hey, the tackle's got him, the guard's got him, the center's out of it, the tailback's got a certain backer. We can find that side of the protection, have a pretty good tell on that. It really fits for us the way we want to attack it. We want to create this identification like we just talked about. We can show you bear front, move to a 4-3 look, pre-snap. That helps us just cut guys loose. Every once in a while, those guys will just make a mistake, right? And if we just make them make mistakes, we like to talk about it all the time on really simple terms. Who makes the least mistakes? That isn't always just about you trying to execute yourself better. How do you make it more difficult on them? Put them in a position where it's harder to do their job. It's harder to understand what they're seeing without making it too complicated for your guys. We want to create this identification. We want to make the front pass off people. We want that man protection guy to have to send it to the zone side, find the next guy coming back. Technically, you've got to be a really good player to pass things off. If I'm on a man side of protection and I'm working with my tackle, we got 2-man games, we really look for guys and guards that open their hips to play. If they do this, if I see on tape a guy just do this in his set, it's over. We know how we'll show you some tape later. We know we're going to tear these guys up. If you're a good vertical set team, and you guys stay on the same level, we can't run some of the man-beater games that we want to run. So I think from making teams pass things off, technically that's hard to do. And these guys aren't great athletes. We're going to put great athletes in front of them. And so they've got to technically be sound to be able to do that. We want to make them do that. And then again, we want to affect the quarterback. We affect the quarterback, we're going to win the football game, we believe. But I think more than anything, you got to create on defense, and when it comes particularly to rushing the passer, a culture of relentless pursuit. I mean, most of this stuff isn't just clean games that you win. Most of the time, affecting the quarterback comes down to having dudes up front that play the game really, really hard, and when it isn't clean, they continue to play really, really hard. And that, you know, we've got plenty of clips of guys. You know, I think most of our sack production this year, you know, we doubled our output from a year ago when I took the job. It was one of the big things. We had 7 sacks in the year before I got here. And I'm like, I'm kind of tripping to 7 sacks over 11 games, you think. And we had 33 this year, and probably, which isn't high enough in my world, I like to have even more, but, you know, probably 15 of those sacks came from just guys playing, you know, within our scheme, playing really hard. Just winning a one-on-one that we really didn't, you know, we're not accounting for being cut loose or being in great advantage. They just play the game really, really hard and continue to. We got the quarterback to choke the ball, and he stands there with it too long, and our guys just keep playing hard. If you're not coaching that every single down, you're missing the very most important part. And all that stuff on paper looks cute. If you want to have a culture of just relentless effort, pursuit, you kind of forget about the rest. So, types of protections, we identified in a number of different ways. These are just some of the ways we talk about them. Your man zone protections is what we'll talk about today, both 6 and 5 man. Slide protection, we'll talk about that a little bit. Or your 3-step slide, back off the edge. 7 man with a tight end attached. A couple different ways to run those slide protections. Bob protection, we call big on big, kind of what we were talking about with the bare front. 5 dudes on 5 dudes, the bigs on the bigs. Pretty simple stuff. And then your movement stuff, sprint protection, turn back, run action pass is how we define play action, run action protections. There's multiple of those, but I think what we'll focus on just for this is really how to beat that man zone protection. Your typical 6-man, your 5 guys up front with the tailback, with the center setting one way and the man side on the other. I think you see that more in your 5-step game, right? We're talking about your 2nd long situations, your 3rd long situations, where a lot of times this is the kind of the standard protection you get. Depending on, for us in our league, we get the man side of the protection where the running back is probably 80% of the time. Meaning, the center's going to slide away from the tailback. The guard and the tackle, they're all going to get taught, right? I'm a gap player, my outside gap. We're going to sort out right here the tackle, rush, and will, however they come. We're not manned on those players. We're going to go ahead and let that commit to my gap, pass them off as need be. I can always overset, meaning I can outside set a 5 technique really hard because I know I have help inside of me as that tackle. That's a hard thing to, you can't manipulate those guys very well, right? So we want to stay away from trying to attack a zone protection. It's just naturally in their heads, they're ready to pass off everything, they understand where their help is, and they're going to use it. And so obviously getting to the quarterback on a direct path, you need to beat somebody inside. You can't just win it outside. And so with them knowing I always have inside help, it's a hard part of the protection to beat. The easier part is the man side to the tailback. Obviously, if you blitz it, you got 4 to the side, that's the typical, hey, we just bring more than 3 to block situation, that's easy. But what we know just conceptually how they're going to work is guard has a man on the nose and the end. They're going to pass those 2 players off however they can. If any of those players travel to the zone side, the nose travels across the center space, the guard's going to pinch down and wait for the first thing to come back. And so we want to, with those rules, we understand, hey, there's some man-to-man responsibility. We know with your action, you're one-on-one with that guy until you start moving. Okay? So that's how we do. That's how we talk man-zone protection. Half of it's the man side, half of it's the zone side. We want to do our best to attack these rules. So the other one is slide. We'll look at here in a little bit. Obviously, full slide protection. Tailback off the edge. Tailback's looking to cut typically your 5 technique. 3-step game. Trying to get your hands down. Easy protection, obviously, to pass off everything. Hard protection to stay in if the ball doesn't come out quick. So, first way we get after it. We'll talk. We know it's a down. We're going to throw the football. We're going to send out. Typically, we package this. We're going to put our 4 best pass rushers on the field. There's no surprise when we play in our trade package. We're coming after quarterback. We all know what's going on, and so we play 2-3 techniques. I guess we just look at the slides, just see what we're talking about. 2-3 techniques and 2 5s. Right? That's how we're aligned up front. The shading's wrong, obviously, on that. It's a GA problem. So we're going to put 2 3s and 2 5s. Reason being, the reason we like the front, again, if you go back to the man and the zone side, it makes that center, the 3 technique way out there, and he sets to the zone side. We want that center to feel like he's got to really work to one side or the other. The second reason is it's really easy to get your 5 techniques one-on-one. So if you're in 2 3s and 2 5s, the center's standing there going, I got nothing, I can't help that tackle. We can't essentially pass off these 3s till something happens. Any game you play inside occupies the center and both guards. So it doesn't matter what you do. You can stunt, move, and cross and twist, whatever you want to do. Those 3 guys are responsible for 2. It leaves your 2 best players one-on-one. You get the 2 3s and 2 5s. There's no other way to shake it. Those guys can play any game inside with the 2 3s. Those 2 guys are one-on-one. We want that, obviously. We'll talk about how we're trying to get some freedom there with those 2 3s, but essentially, it's about my 2 best dudes rushing against your 2 guys, and we're going to win. And at that point, we tactically want to teach better than you, and hopefully, creates more, affects the quarterback more. Balanced pressure opportunity with your 3s and 5s, the way you're structured behind it. You can bring pressure from either side. You're not overloaded for the most part. And then there's a lot of ways to create those pass-offs like we talked about. It's your 2 3s and 2 5s. You're man-to-man on those guys. How are you going to pass off these games? That's a lot of action to try and handle. And so that's why we start where we base out of this when we teach our rush principles. Even in we're a 1 and a 3 and 2 5. Any 4-down look, we're going to teach with a lot of these terms and principles. So the day 1 call we'll make, okay, it's 3rd long. We want to just cover rush 4. We're going to call enter, trade, enter, whatever coverage we want to play behind it. We got 7 available coverage, 4 are coming. We'll sugar the look. We'll bring every backer up, make it look like pressure. At the end of the day, this is what we're trying to get done. We want to enter from the running back side. So our end and our nose in this picture, if the tackle or the tailback was flipped, we'd be talking about the tackle and the rush. If the running back is to us, got a simple rule. Right? If the running back is to me as an end or a rush, a 5 technique, we're going to run a technique we call stick and flow, which means for us the 2 terms are stick is a read on that tackle. Tackle's out of me, I'm crossing his face. Okay? If the tackle's down, I'm off his ass. Okay? In the man zone protection, he's going to set on me, he's out, I'm crossing his face. That's a stick technique. It's really simple. You guys are probably doing it in a bunch of different stuff. Right? So we're making the read on the tackle. The important part for us is the flow. Okay? Once we've stuck that tackle, we flow, we're getting to the opposite shoulder of the quarterback at all costs. We'll cross as many faces as we need to do it. And when we get to man side of protection, we typically get free access. That guard isn't setting off that 3 technique. Okay? He's going to step down with it. So we need to cross that tackle and get to that opposite shoulder. And like we talked about, sir, we want to move the quarterback. Right? By our 3 and our 5 taking inside sticks against a man zone protection like this, we're not going to try and go hit the quarterback in the mouth. We want to move him. So we got to get to his opposite shoulder and make him slide away from me. If I'm going to miss, his ass better miss towards that tailback. He better avoid me at that tailback. That kid is not getting out of the pocket that way at all costs. And so if I'm the nose and say we're wrong, the 20% of the time in our league, the center is actually we're going to be in the zone side, and that nose is doing the same thing. If the running back's to me, I'm going to stick and flow. He sticks, and that center showed up in his face, he's going to keep crossing. Because I know my #1 rule is to flow this quarterback. I need to be on the opposite shoulder no matter what. So we get that done. We stick and flow, okay, with the nose at the end. What we're doing is we're setting it up with the tackle and the rush. Okay? Our tackle is going to step and search. And with the running back away from me, we're talking our tackle on the right. He's going to sell his one-on-one. He's to the zone side. I don't want to rush this. There's too many guys here passing me off. I'm out of here. I'm going to go cover this. We know the quarterback's going to move, right? And we're going to free him up, take him out of that zone protection. If there's any chance you can block the tackle, you've got to take the center, pass it to the nose, guard, pass it to the end, tackle off for the tackle. That's a lot of shit. That's got to happen before those guys can cross the face and get vertical. You'll see it's been impossible for our league to handle. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to put the rush on what we call a high rush. Meaning, he is going to rush around, speed rush this tackle as high and deep as he possibly can. I mean, he'll run all the way to the back of this room before he'll let that guy tackle it, touch it. we're going to high rush. We're trying to get to a point where we're so far up past the level of that quarterback, because we know the quarterback's not coming my way, right? We're going to move his tail. We're going to move his tail over here. We're going to high rush things as high as we possibly can. What we want to do is after on this rush, and I've high rushed it, and I come around, I want that quarterback down here. This is a stunt we call to try and create turnovers too. You know, you see everybody strip sack, right? That's always a, hey, well, we want to put these guys in these situations. So anytime we high rush, it's with the intent of being so deep that now I've got the quarterback's back while he's moving. And if we can get him pulled up, I get every opportunity to play on the football and not just have to make a tackle on him. So that high rush, that quarterback moves, we're coming around thinking, strip sack. The ball better come out if I get the opportunity to play on this guy. So once we move that quarterback, those two players are going to pinch him, one high and one low, if we get a move. And so, I'll show you, so enter is kind of the first way, and those principles of stick and flow, high rush, okay, and search are all terms we use to communicate now with our guys. So simply here, and we get a lot of different looks, and again, we start, you know, pre-snap one way. We got him to bear the protection here. We got him shifted. All right, now we're sitting in our tray front. And we got our best pass rushers on the field. 44. This is our end. Okay, our rush backer, which is part of the 4-man front here. And again, you can see 1 second before we're snapping the ball. 55's going, wait. We got a new mic, right? They're a rules-based team. They're a 0-1-2 team. You can overload and move this damn center wherever you want to. You know, 1 second ago, 23 was down here, sugared up. 55 doesn't even know he exists. Now he pops back and becomes a mic. Now I got a new one, right? And then the ball snapped now. Okay? That's a lot of processing. And now you got to technically play well. So we're going to run the enter from this side. And we're going to stick and flow 77 and 74. 92, this is one of those 20%ers. The center comes at us. Doesn't matter. You two guys, flow this thing. Get to the opposite shoulder of the quarterback. Keep working. You can see the nose now, they can't pass this off. 77 shoulders return, it's done, search is coming, we get the ball out quick. High rush, we're just rushing it as deep and wide as we can. If these quarterbacks make a mistake and stay too deep on their spot, should just go right through his ass. That ball should have been he should have made an attempt to play on the football here. But again, this is third long, ball's out. Okay, you want to get the ball this quick, we're good with it. Let's go make a tackle in space. Same thing, we're getting the looks, maybe ID late, or set and tray. We're going to run the enter from this side now, rush, tackle, nose and end. And we did this is a nice job, 48. You know, we know one of these scenarios, we call it a vert stick. We want to 1-2 up the field and then stick. If we can create more space or 5 as we send the nose right now, right? 75 turns his shoulders. He's not coming back. I've got all the free access I want on 71 now as the rush to flow that quarterback clean. So again, we do a really nice job here at 92. We get the center actually comes back. We kind of a little quick on the search. So the center comes back. He doesn't get jammed up in there. He continues to flow. We move the quarterback. And we're in good shape. Now they're attacking the shit over high rush, right? Again, the search is really unblocked, really hard pass off. And we're going to enter here, our nose and our end now. It's actually not a great rep on a 97 here. If we get the man side of the protection, pretty soon this is what these centers start doing. Oh shit, right? Who do I don't know. I'm just going to watch the set straight out here. We do know when they start doing this, we're one-on-one out here. There's no way, that guy's not responsible for anybody, right? We're one-on-one. So So we're going to stick and flow. It's a really nice job by 90, just continuing to flow. 97 needed to take right now. This is a poor rep by 97. He needs to take that access. Don't get your hands on this tackle. Get your tail through there tight to the guard and get this thing flowed. Because when the search comes back, guys, when the search comes back, he brings guys with him. Right? That's when the pass-off starts. When 93, our tackle, starts to search, that's when the pass-offs start happening. Until then, we're man-to-man. And so between the time 93 gets to the search and 97, our end has got to stick and flow, right? He's got to make that move before we can pass out. He doesn't here. And so that guard ends up pinning him from getting to the flow. Y'all see what I'm talking about there? You've got to make sure that happens. This has had a chance to get a little hairy. Kind of does a good job of continuing moves. Again, these pass-offs, it's really tough. It's really tough in your draw game, right? You want to run draw through this mess, it's difficult. Gonna enter from the right. Nice wide alignments, we know what down it is. Revert stick. Both cats are flowing. So this is an example of an end right here, a rush backwards. He's on the stick in the flow. Hey, number one rule, that's right, it's not always pretty. It's not going to be that quick inside take sometimes. Make sure your ass gets the opposite shoulder quarterback. He crosses the face. I can't get here. I'm not going to keep pressing vertical. I got to get to the opposite shoulder quarterback. I don't care what side of line of scrimmage it's on. He can't get out of the pocket that way. We don't get him moved in the direction we want. Your high rush won't be there, right? Your search is gone. Essentially, the way we look at this, when we start, there's nobody over here. Both these guys are leaving. Okay, so what us two over here, we've got to make sure we get across the shoulder at all costs. It's a really nice rep by 33. I'm going to keep working no matter where he is. Can't escape out of that side. Just have a couple more. We give again, we run this out of, this actually isn't right. This is the next. Okay, so enter. That makes sense? You guys any questions about that? I think we'll see how we kind of manipulate that thought. But the whole idea, stick and flow the quarterback, search and high rush, how you move them. It creates a lot of issues for those guys up front. Obviously, helps us affect that quarterback's day. Yes, for searching, you know, there's kind of two ways to think about it. If you've got a really good beat on the protection, you know that 5 technique over there, and say I'm the 3, right? I'm going to go search it, and I know he's on the stick of the flow over there. If we feel as coaches, that guy can get that job done really easily. We got that protection identified well, that I can just get to this one. If I know we're going to need some time, we'll vert search it too. We want to get that guy. You know, I mean, you see how clean he is. We get him there fast. He's unblocked now for the most part. But if we've got to hold off and not let those pass-offs start to buy him time to handle his business, hold this protection the way it is, we want to hold it first and then wrap it. So we teach it first is no matter what, all 4 of you guys, day 1, the minute you're off the ball, it doesn't matter. We are 3 steps before we do anything. Everything's sold one-on-one first, and then we move it. As we dial into stuff in the course of the week, hey, we know what protection we're getting. We can do things faster. We can search things better. But initially, in a tray front, we play tray. Doesn't matter what we run. 1, 2, 3. We're all one-on-one. All those linemen are going to set vertical first, and then have to pass off out of poor posture. We want all one-on-one stuff. We want that guy to feel like, okay, we're one-on-one. Wait, no, we're not. Right? So if you go right now, yeah, obviously a lot of you guys play coach the line. It's easier to pass off you go right now than when you go 3 steps up. So when it comes to the search, vertical first, then search it, unless you feel like you got a great beat on the protection. So any other question about that? We'll get back to it. Actually, I'm going to skip to it right now. So the different way we go about rushing it, right? So we got our 4-down tray look, okay? We'll repackage that same idea with completely different players on the field. An offense goes, you know, we come out running. We send out all these guys. we call our Army package. We send all these guys out there, right? We got 3 safeties on the field. We actually take 2 D linemen off the field. We repackage the whole damn thing, right? So we got a 3-2 box with a rover stud who moves around a ton, creates a completely different identification for you. Nothing you ever see. 4-3 high, right? These are 3rd and long situations for the most part. When we're up in games, we know, hey, we got to get after the quarterback here. But again, all of a sudden you look at it, it's like, geez, this looks like it's going to be Blitz City, right? Here it comes. There's 6 guys with corner potential coming in the box. We'll roll the dime in there every once in a while, but yeah, it's different, right? But for us, it's exactly the same as what we just talked about. The first call we'll talk about in Army is force, right? So that box, if you look at the box, you got the 3-2 look. In my head, the way I'm looking at it, that Mike or that Will, they're going to become that 3 technique. They're going to become that tackle or that nose in our rush. We're going to run enter. We're just going to call it force, right? It's a lot of the same coverage principles, same stuff. We're rushing 4 here. Our Mike and our Will are going to sugar, and they're going to, during the cadence, they're going to get up in those B gaps. They're going to get into the techniques. We're going to turn it into a tray front, okay? With the nose is either in the rush or out of the rush, depending on what we're running. We'll show you another one later where the nose isn't. So the way we look at the front, end and Mike, right? We're going to stick and flow, nose and end, same rules. Okay? We just play a little different technique on how we get to the search. A lot of times, this is the time when we know, hey, if I put a 0 over the nose or over the center, that guy's got a man-to-man. We know that about what you do. So initially, we have the nose move away, right, from where we're entering. We're going to take that center with us. Gives access for the end of the Mike here to stick and flow that quarterback. Let's get that sucker moved. Nose, search, and high rush. Same exact thing. But we're doing it with, really, and this will be our rush back from one of these ends. We're doing it with 2 D linemen on the field. 3 of the 4 guys rushing our linebackers for the most part. We got a very versatile group there. Now, is it the only thing we do? I don't know. We're in ring pressure. We're in different coverages. It allows you to be really versatile and have a different 3rd down package. But we don't want our guys not understanding the concept of how we're doing it. Right? It's still a stick and flow, search and high rush principle every time. And so, I'll show you these. This is all right. Playing University of Northern Iowa, good football team. They truly are a man zone protection team. We didn't really have the ability to manipulate their centers, so our flows had a little different day. Really good football team, pretty physical group. But again, we get our Army look. So the Mike and the Will were sugared up. And we actually, in this game, because we felt like we were going to enter away from the back. Right? So it's a simple adjustment for us. We're going to enter this thing away from the back. We're going to force it in our turn here, force away from the back, because they did play games quite a bit. But their biggest tendency was they put the man side of protection in the boundary. When you start throwing looks against them like teams like this, and then this is where the coaching part comes in, right? We adjust in game on where we want to send the rush on this thing. They did a nice job right here of getting the zone side at our end. Right? 39 and 44, right? Those are stick and flow. 47 and 19, right? Those guys, right, are searching our high rush. 34, just giving us a threat, and we're going to drop up. They didn't respect, right, the fact that we might have been a field blitz team or something. They didn't care. They're just like, we're going to live with it because, I don't know, they had a tell on us. And then at this point, it was probably because of our alignment at 27, saying, hey, we're overloaded over there a little bit, set the zone side that way. Probably the mistake we made. Now, we make him really flexible in alignment. A lot of our coverages are just opposite of where he is. So if we felt that, we would take 27 and get his tail back over here. right? Make him set the center this way, right, halfway through the game, and enter from over there. Now, long story short, we get the quarterback moved. For whatever reason, as we started to stick and flow, he didn't love, and or we just have a great high rush up here, right? We got him moved. You know, having this sugared Will backer right here helps us not look so porous in there when we don't get across his face like this. So the high rush gets there, we move the quarterback, right? Here comes that high rush looking for the ball, search, you know, not as technically great here. Don't like him putting his hands and getting his hips turned so shallow. Got to get to the level before our hips look like this. But you can see what we're saying. We get that quarterback move, same principle. We've got a whole different group of players out there. It's not enter, it's force, it's the same principles. Now again, we're only rushing 4 guys. Right? We're not rushing, we're not limited in coverage, we do anything we want. Now, here was the change up for us. This is a little look. We just tag this with a goal call. That same Will backer that was sugared up in there, that had never come, and they had the protection again, and they went, oh, there's that 27, we're going to set everything this way, you're going opposite of what we do, 32 hasn't had to block, they're just cutting this guy loose up front, right? Screw it. Let's let it rip. Right, we're going to play a little different coverage, let the corner pass off the back. But if we see you setting it away from it, and you're going to set your center to our enter, we know this is the man side down. And if we've got the man side over here, we know that the back is on the linebacker. Who are they identifying as the linebacker? 34, who's walked up in there. Now I got a sugared backer on your back. I don't care if you've got to block me. We're going to have this collision up around your quarterback. Again, seem to be clean? No, I think 32 sucks here, obviously. But at the end of the day, if that action's happening right in front of that quarterback, what have we done? We affected it. It might not be a sack. He's going to feel it. Keep the ball up, and or he's going to move. If he moves, the enter force is on. We just go with this call, a little change up in coverage, and we're good to go. High rush and brutal. This kid will probably, 92 here, he'll probably get drafted and play in the league for a while. Unbelievable player. He's not just a free technique, but when you, again, these sort of packages, you decide who are your best guys. Don't care what they play. 92's a cat. He's hard to block. We're going to get those 2 guys out on the edge at 5 techniques and let go. Again, same look. Once you sugar them up there, those 2 guys are one-on-one. Again, this group, same situation. It's probably a cleaner look to look at it. We start that off position. Walk those 2 backers up in there. Make you ID it. Enter. Again, looks like we did this away from the back again this week. 34, really good stick and flow. 34, really good stick and flow. 33, really good stick and flow. Just continue. These are different protections, right? This isn't our typical man protection. We got a puller. 33 still got to work to the opposite shoulder. Difficult pass-offs. Right? Not the cleanest picture there is. But the principles help you keep playing. The principles help keep the quarterback effective. Okay, so how do we work enter that concept, 4 down tray look, and then we'll repackage it. And then I think the idea here is for you guys isn't necessarily do we run that exact stuff. It's hey, here's a great 4-man game, and it is. It's been really good for a lot of years for me. How do I put different players in those positions and still keep it simple for them? That's really simple for our guys. Any one of our players can go stick and flow this box, that chair. If I want to stick and flow, I don't know how to do that. Where's the quarterback and where are you? Right? We can build that into any defense we want, and we can support those positions with a high rush and a serve. Second one we'll look at, once we know we've got the man side of protection, and this is probably something that you guys already do a lot. And it's a, you know, some of it's a tech stunt, it's a tar stunt, it's a tangle stunt. We call it Okay, so this tar, tango, tack, sliding, two-man game, right? We know, hey, as a running back again, we're just sitting at the man side of protection. We talked about how difficult that is to pass things off. And I think the mistake, and this is good, that a lot of defenses make is you see it, right? You say, I got a 3 technique, I got a 5 technique, I know the guard and the tackle are matched, and we got this 2-on-2 game, right? And so the immediate thing I think, and I did for a lot of years, I'm like, hey, what's the best way to get that? You pick him, and I'm going here, right? You just, the 3 technique, go and pick the tackle, and then I'm going to wrap off you, right? And so, obviously over the years, offenses aren't dumb. They pass that off every day. Pick stuff. And so, what we got to, and a lot of guys are thinking this way, but you think of that pass off as more as levels. Let me grab it for a second. So, let's turn this way. If this is my guard, right, and this is the tackle. Here, coach, you pull this in. Maybe we can hell of a pass. We'll go this one. Let's say tackle, guard. Okay. If we run a normal pick stunt and I pick him and you loop, okay, you have the ability to still slide back on me and pass it off, right? For us, our attempt to do, again, we want to sell everything one-on-one. As the 3 technique inside, my job is to press. Meaning, I'm in a 40 stance, and I'm not touching either one of these guys. I'm going to get, with him rushing, I'm going to get as vertical as I possibly can. My job is to get my ass on the ass of the tackle. Once we're to this point, it's over, right? It's absolutely over. It's impossible for him to come back and pass off, right? He can't block me at this point. Now, as you surge, you've got to make a decision. You're going to block him or you're going to block him, right? And so the idea of pressing the gap, not picking the stunt, is what we get into. It doesn't matter what we're doing. If we run a tar stunt, we're both going to rush up the field. And he's going to stutter his feet a little bit to try and create a shorter action. And I'm trying to run faster than you can run backwards, which I better be able to do. I recruited the wrong guy. So, somebody on the bench, let's go, because you can't run faster than an offensive line runs backwards. We got bigger problems than this particular issue. So we call it a tar stunt. We call it in a number of different ways. We know it's a man zone protection. We'll try to run it to one side. If we don't know where it's coming, we feel comfortable running it to 2 sides. We call that tar, both directions. And just the technique of it, and again, it goes back to, when you watch tape, and you're watching these offensive linemen pass off games, is that guard, 2 things. One, if you widen out your 5 technique, is the tackle going to set out? If the tackle sets out, it's over. That 3's got all kinds of gas, right? He can make that run no problem. If the 5, or excuse me, if the 3, if he turns his shoulders on a press, the guard in there does this on the 3 technique, that's over too. Because at the end of the day, when the surge comes, he's not a good enough athlete to reset his feet and wrap back around to protect on that searching 5. So again, we saw these guys and went, we're going to have a hell of a day. This is a really bad offensive line. They're coached technically poor. We didn't care which side we're running. We're running both sides. And so we were going to get home. Again, these guards were so outside, they short set, and really we're looking on the left side. Right? Kind of as they zone us up, we tried to sugar the mic to try and get that bear look, so the center would say, hey, I got you, and then we know we got 2 one-on-ones on both sides. The center ends up sliding. 92, and this isn't great, he puts his hands on him too soon. But again, as soon as the guard does this, it's a wrap. It's absolutely over. There's no way that guard can come off and pass this stunt out. Absolutely no way. Now 92's press is average at very best. And if they really want to look at 47. 47 here running the press. He's going to keep fighting vertical. It doesn't matter. The guard turns his hips. 0 way they can pass it off. Sorry, just to get tight on time. Yep, go ahead. On that side, 47, where you still going. If we feel comfortable with that. So we move your quarterback again. And when we teach that surge, coming off the zone side, he's still flowing. We surge it, right? You come off of the vertical, we come stick. If there's spaces in here, I'm going to keep working, right? So that we would have covered that with the opposite part of the tank. You with me there? Okay. And then how do we incorporate it into different stuff? Again, we'll run other games. We'll run this with any 3-5. Right? We do. These guys didn't care. Oklahoma. They're going to match us up. They're going to block us one-on-one. We put our end down in the 3. We walk the backer to the 5. Again, it's just a really good press by 44. They're technically a whole lot better than most teams we play. Right? We got a miss ID here. 73 is wrong. Again, tough pass off. But 44 on the press, and that's the point we're making. At the top of this, he's not looking to run right through the middle of the quarterback. Where do we got to move the quarterback? To your point, he's got to contain the reps that he possibly can through the press, get a move. And these guys are as good as they get, technically. 77 is really, really good. Okay? And then again, as we run this tango stunt, here's how we do it out of our Army package, and we'll run inside on time. We sugar 34 and 39. Those are our 2-3 techniques. They're the guys running the press. The nose is going to search the back with the supported coverage. 34 and 39 are going to press it. Right? Who cares about this? It's just an awful ball right here. This side. 39 is going to press it as vertical as you can. 44 is going to search it. That would have got home even if they did block the right guys. Again, another miss ID. Really, when you stop the tape for us, who's our D lineman? 92, 34, 39, and 44. The fronts, 34 and 39 are linebackers in their world. Right? One guy is thinking about being a protection on the backer. The other one isn't. He's thinking the backside. And obviously we've got screen game run out. There's 47 searches the back of the screen game. Now, here's the other thing we do. They adjusted in game. They looked at us as a bear front. They said, hey, we're going to start big on big. All 5 of us got these 5 guys no matter how you shake it. Cool. 27. We're going away from the running back because you know you're the 6th guy. You're the only one left to block. We're just going to add 27 in now. Right, coverage response, we take 39, these are 2 back, they're out of there. Still run the tar stunt. 34 still pressing it nice. We thought they'd protect it a little better, get stuck. Change it. But it's another way to tag it. So again, repackage it, same stuff, press, surge. Hopefully that helps you win some of those tools. Appreciate all your time. I know we're done. It's over, but Q&A, no Q&A? No. Okay. So yeah, we can keep going. Need somebody to speak German.